I came from a graduate school called St. John's College. I don't know if any of you know about St. John's. Great. It was sort of a magical place where there are grades, but you're not told, and no one asks. There are no tests really to speak of. There are papers, and you read books, and you get down in the dirt with your classmates and sit around a table and discuss them. And that's it. At the end of each semester, you get together with your professors at the time, and you have a conversation. And that's what your grade comes from. They find out how well you're doing just from conversation. And I loved my time there. And I was very fortunate afterwards, not knowing really what I wanted to do, to get a job at a place called Touchstone's Discussion Project. And it's a nonprofit in DC where we take sort of that teaching method, what we call a Socratic seminar, and we put it both into schools, in the classrooms, into businesses and organizations, into governments within countries. And I really started to get my passion for teaching and education and figuring out how I could make a difference in the world. And I did that for 4 years. I worked in prisons, teaching inmates in maximum security prisons in Maryland through this method. I worked with governmental agencies, the CIA. Oddly enough, Kotso talked about 9/11. One of the things I was tasked with doing was to go into the CIA and work with the analysts on learning how to, let's say, cooperate with each other. And it all came out of that stemming of the disaster, and they weren't sharing information, and we had to figure out in this new world where there are expectations of wanting to progress and get paid more and move up the ladder, but we also have to share all this information. How do you do both of those things at once? And I think that fits really in with what we're trying to do at Khabele. And then eventually I learned that I want to get in a classroom. I had spent a lot of time going to different classrooms, working with teachers in various schools, trying to help them solve various problems and talk about teaching methods, but I wanted one of my own. I wanted my own classroom with my own kids that I could follow through from day one till they graduate. Liam, looking at you next year. Yeah. And that's what I was really, really excited about. And I started doing this national search. I looked at boarding schools and private schools and charter schools all over the country, mostly the coast, because I didn't want to live in Des Moines, Iowa. Mostly the coast in Austin. And I found the Khabele School because I had come here to do a training for some of the humanities teachers. And I came on a day where they were having a pizzo. I don't know if anyone's talked about pizzos yet to you guys, but it's this meeting we have twice a week where the whole school gets together. And it's really this chance for us to come together as a community. Sometimes we talk about issues that need talking about. Sometimes we have guest speakers come in. The day I came, it was a performance pizzo, which means the kids get to perform, and they were showing funny things they could do with their bodies, which could have been disastrous, I thought. I thought that was a very brave choice on the teacher's part to have that be the pizza. But they get up and they're doing all these great things and everyone's laughing, and then they go back to class and I'm teaching the next class as a guest teacher, and the mood in the classroom, everyone is excited, everyone is, it's the end of the day, they should be complaining and nervous and wanting to get out, but they're into it and they've accepted me and they're asking me questions, and I was blown away. I knew this is where I wanted to be. I knew it's a place where I could come, and there was freedom for the teaching staff, where I could come in and I could work Socratically with the kids, meaning I could come in and I'm forcing them to do a lot of the learning. We read things and we talk about it, they generate the questions. I may, like a stealthy ninja, guide a conversation one way or the other without them knowing it, but really they're doing all of that work. And my kids aren't just doing that work, gaining content, they're also learning about dynamics. You know, when you're in a conversation and you're having this conversation, who's talking, paying attention to how they're talking, what effect questions are having on the conversation itself. All of those things we're learning. We're learning how to be a community. And the last thing I want to do is I want to talk about advisory really quick. Because advisory is the one part of our school that I love the most and I think is most important. And I'm an advisor for high school kids, so 9th grade through 12th grade. I have 16 in my advisory. And together this semester, we came together with a pact that no one in my advisory was going to fail a single quarter. No one would get below a 70. And we made it as a pact together, and we've put aside time where if someone's struggling, we get together and find out how we as a group can help them, right? So we're gonna have someone in the class who knows geometry. During advisory time, maybe teach a geometry lesson to the whole group. We're gonna have the kid who's struggling do that as well. And we're gonna work together to make that happen. And I think it's unique that we have a time like that at a school where that could actually happen. So, yeah. So if you guys have any questions about the high school or middle school, feel free to talk to them, but also feel free to get in touch with us. Our emails can be found on that awesome new website, I'm sure. So please get in touch with us and we can answer your questions. And the last thing I just want to say is, having been around some of your kids before and been around the school a little bit, I want your kids. I want them. I see what you guys are doing, and it's awesome, and it's going to make my job really easy. So give them to me. Thank you.